Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. We are back in the gorgeous studio. I even got a collared shirt on today. It looks like I'm at a bowling league in 1956, but come on. We're trying to dress it up a little bit. We're making Gotham great again here. So a lot of hysteria going on. Is Trump going to form? Is he going to have a coup? Is he going to not leave? There's 68, whatever, some days left before the inauguration. And there's rumblings that, and it's a legitimate question up to a point. Is Trump going to do something crazy? He's a wild card. We know this, right? We know this. But I'm going to go into some questions that I have. Is Trump capable of just saying, I'm not leaving? Could he stage a coup? There's a lot of things in place to say he's not. And I'm wondering, is this just more hysteria to ramp us up to get everybody all on edge? They want to keep us on edge. But is there some secret plan? They want to keep us all on edge. They want to keep us all on edge. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying Trump's not capable of doing it. I've just got some questions, and so do some other people. So let's just go through this. And there's also some Republicans who are like, yeah, he needs to step down. And I'm going to show you all this. I'm going to show you all this in this segment. Republicans that want him to step down, who are being told, God, I'm glad you're speaking up. Other Republicans that just are afraid to speak up right now because Trump's just firing everybody like a crazy dictator. People within in his offices, like he's acting like a crazy dictator. But which crazy dictators just want to stay in power forever. Concerned about Trump attempt as Trump replaces Pentagon leadership, refuses to concede. This was in the India Times, but then this was in The Guardian, right? Can Trump actually stage a coup and stay in office for a second term? What? Right? I mean, you already got people like John Kasich and Mitt Romney who have publicly said Biden won because they're going to be in Biden's cabinet because Biden is a Republican. I said this. I tweeted this out over a year ago when he announced he was running. I said, Joe Biden is a fantastic Republican. We just had a Republican primary, basically, is what the general election was. There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration, Mike Pompeo. The Secretary of State said on Tuesday. Yeah, let's read that again. There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration, Mike Pompeo said. Wait, what? Now, these guys are crazy enough to try it. They're so drunk with power, they're crazy enough to do it. As awful in George Bush's Dick and Dick Cheney were, these guys are crazy enough to do it, to try it. William Barr, the Attorney General, has also authorized federal prosecutors to begin investigative election irregularities, a move that prompted the head of the Justice Department Election Crimes Unit to step down from his position and move to another role. I think they're setting us up for some big crazy thing. It's gonna. Remember we had Whitney Webb on a couple months ago, and she said they're trying to push us into a civil war. We thought it would happen like this last week during the election when they were counting the votes, but you never know when it's going to happen. So they might just be planting seeds for that here, or they might be doing what Caitlin Johnstone says. And I like Caitlin Johnstone a lot. She's read her stuff on medium.com. She's fantastic. Caitlin Johnstone writes, they're not scaring you about the possibility of a Trump coup because there isn't, I think she meant to say, there isn't any possibility of that ever happening. They're doing it because it's their last chance to use Trump to psychologically abuse you for clicks. Right. Because that Guardian title, could Trump possibly, that's to get everybody to go, what? Click on it. Because Caitlin Johnstone, the point she's making, and it's a great point. Trump has been great for ratings. Trump's been great for clicks. He's been great for views, everything. Les Moonves said it in 2016. He goes, Trump's good for ratings. You remember the 2016 primary when they cut away from a speech Bernie Sanders was giving to an empty podium where Donald Trump might speak? The media acts like Trump was so awful. You helped create him. You gave him all this airtime. He was good for rating. You guys just kept pumping him up. Well, people started watching it Saturday Night Live again. So that's what Caitlin's talking about. How they're all of that one last grab to get everybody to click about Trump. He's great. It's clickbait. Did you hear what Trump said today? I mean, after the first 2 months he was sworn in, I was like, yeah. Everyone acts so, no, really? Trump said something crazy today? That's all he did. At least once a week, he said some crazy shit. And everybody fell for it. He calls these shithole countries. What was he doing then? Signing off on a $1.5 trillion tax break to his billionaire buddies that the Democrats were okay with. Like, you ever notice every time there was a big, especially after the Congress became Democrats, we took back the Congress. No, it's not we. Corporations did. If you think the Democrats are you're crazy. You're delusional. They're not we. It's like when people talk about their sports team. We won today. No, you didn't. LeBron James won. He's a multimillionaire. He doesn't give a shit about you. The Lakers won. You didn't win. So they're losing their clickbait ratings. So this is more quotes from that Guardian article, right? Which has the whole clickbait thing. And we've talked about this before in the show. They'll put some big inflammatory title, and then deeper in the article, they'll go, but it's not this, or they'll give a counterpoint to it. You know, Bernie Sanders wants to take away your health care. And they'll put that in the meat of the story. And then way down, because they know people don't read past a certain point. There's like the percentages of people reading past a certain point in an online article diminish like each paragraph, right? So they put lower, actually, Bernie's plan wasn't bad, and it's actually cheaper than the current healthcare plan, and will save Americans a lot of money. They'll put that deep, right? So we know that's what they do. So is Trump going to stage a coup? Is he? It's what Caitlin Johnson is talking about. Donald Trump refuses to accept that Joe Biden won the presidential election. Is there a constitutional path for him to stage a coup and stay in office for another term? Deeper in the article? Not really. They could have put, it's weird, they left out not really in the title. And Trump actually stage a coup and stay in office for a second term? Not really. They could have put it there, but it's weird that they didn't. I guess they just ran out of space. That's what it was. Can Donald Trump stage a coup? Not really. No, it's impossible. The whole system was set up so that we can't have dictators in this country. Like, there's a general whose job it is to escort the old president out and escort the new president in. Right? And that general has said, I'm escorting him out. Can Donald Trump actually stay and form a coup that Trump to get right? Not really. The Electoral College meets on December 14th to cast its vote for president, and nearly every state uses the statewide popular vote to allocate its electors. Okay. So you remember 4 years ago when Hillary won the popular vote, and there was a movement, and Jill Stein headed it, of saying, like, get the Electoral College to petition, and Jill Stein raised money, and people were like, she took that money and ran. All the people that blamed her for Hillary's shitty campaign. Hillary lost because she ran an awful campaign, and the Democratic Party screwed over progressives with populist platforms and policies that would help the majority of Americans. Quick side note. And the Electoral College wouldn't do it, right? So now, barring some crazy event where, you know, the Trump sends his Proud Boys to attack the Electoral College, all these individual electors cast, like, And more importantly, Republicans are like, okay, you lost. Let's move forward. You lost. You lost. Republicans are saying it. This is a guy on CNN last night.
As we have new results from the state of Pennsylvania, which show Joe Biden widening his lead. John King out front at the magic wall. He's still there. Okay, so what is the very latest?
Let's walk through some of these states in the context of what you were just talking about with Kristen and other guests earlier in the program. You mentioned Pennsylvania. Since we called the race, projected the race at about noon on Saturday, Joe Biden's lead now is 45,000 plus. That is up 11,000 since Saturday. As they continue to count the mail-in ballots, Joe Biden's lead is going up in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As again, up 11,000 since we called the race on Saturday. Georgia, it's a more narrow lead, 14,149, but that is up a net 5,000 votes since we projected the race for Joe Biden on Saturday. In Georgia, they're counting mail-in ballots. Biden's lead is going up. Let's move west. Out in Nevada, we've already projected this state for Biden. Aaron, they're still counting some votes there, though. But since we projected it on Saturday, 36,000 vote lead right now. That is up 14,000 since Saturday. And one more I want to show you is Arizona, which is still in play here. This is the one state. Biden leads now by 13,766. That lead is down. It's down. The president has made up about 6,000 votes since Saturday. So Arizona shrinking a little bit. Biden's still in charge. One more state I want to show you, because the Trump campaign had a call today, and they said they're going to file a federal fraud suit in Michigan. 148,000 vote plus lead. 148,000. Donald Trump won the state by 10,000 votes 4 years ago. I've been doing this for 35 years. You're going to flip? You're going to say there was fraud to flip 150,000 votes, Aaron? Not happening.
No.
Just not happening. So let me just go to this map. I want to put this in a context for you real quick. Why are they doing this? This is where we are right now, right? Let's just say the president picks up North Carolina. We haven't called that yet. And Alaska, they're still counting votes. And Joe Biden holds his leads in Georgia. Move that over. And in Arizona. That gives Biden 306, even if President Trump were successful with a challenge in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden's still the president of the United States. Even if he was successful with a challenge in Pennsylvania and in Georgia, Joe Biden is still president of the United States. So even if they flip two states, it's not enough. And those are the two biggest states on the board that are, quote unquote, still in play. They're not still in play. So that just highlights the ludicrous nature of this, that if Joe Biden could hold Pennsylvania, Donald Trump could flip the others, he'd still be president of the United States. The math here is just not there.
No, the math is insurmountable. And as you point out with Michigan, let me just make the point, Clinton, didn't contest this, 15 times greater margin of victory, 150,000 votes. That is just not going to change.
The average swing in a recount is maybe 500 votes.
Right. I mean, it's just to give people a sense of what we're really talking about here. And North Carolina Democrat Cal Cunningham, when you look at these Senate races, these are really, really crucial. Obviously, I know we're going to all be looking at Georgia, but conceding that Senate race today, obviously, we haven't called that state's winner in the presidential race formally yet, but what is the latest there?
Well, they're still counting votes there like everywhere else. And as you note, Cal Cunningham decided to concede today. He's at 47. Tom Tillis is at 49 if you round it up. Look, the state campaigns, they understand what votes are coming in. And Cal Cunningham making the conclusion. They may keep counting. I may get a little bit closer, but I'm not going to make it. This is the Senate race. So let me flip over to the presidential race now. We haven't projected this either because they're still counting votes, mail-in ballots. But there's no expectation in the Biden campaign they're going to win this state. The president here is up 74,000 votes. That's 50 to 49. The Biden campaign, they'll wait. They'll see the results. But they fully expect President Trump will hold this state. And Aaron, as they fully expect that, guess what they're not doing? Screaming fraud.
Right. Well, that's the thing here is, just to make the point, John, they're counting and taking time because the ballots that are left, they want to make sure, right, if something was folded wrong or it needs to be looked at, you got to have multiple people look at. That's the whole point, to get it right.
You were talking about this earlier. Just let me say this quickly. I've been doing this for 35 years. If you see fraud in an election, you see it the days before the election, on election day, and in the immediate time after. If they had documentation of this, we would see it.
Then why didn't you call it out during the Democratic primary?
No.
They do not have it. All right. Thank you very much, John King. And this does come as President-elect Joe Biden says Republican lawmakers are too afraid of Trump to see the writing on the wall and to admit that Joe Biden is the next president.
I think that the whole Republican Party has been put in a position, with a few notable exceptions, of being mildly intimidated by the sitting president.
Out front now, Republican Congressman from Virginia, Denver, Rigelman. And I should point out that unlike a majority of Republican lawmakers, he has acknowledged Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won this election. I appreciate your time, Congressman. So you're leaving Congress in January. Why do you think it is that so many of your Republican colleagues are either completely silent here and avoiding it, or going further, right? Echoing and amplifying President Trump's claims of election fraud?
I'm not quite sure, and thanks for having me on, Aaron. I think part of it is that, when you have a constituency and you have these sort of swinger or these votes that you have to get, maybe they're afraid to go out and say something against the president where they could lose those votes. I'm not quite sure, and sadly, it's my way of speaking out that has me here today, where I'm leaving in January. And I find it amazing that a lot of people put the man or the woman above the institution. I have no boss, and these representatives have no boss except for the Constitution and their constituents. So I think the best thing to do is just spit facts, and that's what I try to do.
Cough into your arm, Aaron. We don't do this anymore. Now she's going to touch a pen. Everyone at CNN gets COVID and dies. Way to go.
Spit facts. Say exactly what I mean, exactly what I feel. And I think a lot of that has to do with my military background. The fact is I didn't need this paycheck. So I think I have a little bit more freedom than other people to say what I feel. And, in 2 months, we're going to have a new president. And I think that's a fact.
Yeah, it is a fact. Now, some of your colleagues have admitted Biden is the winner. Some. In the Senate, there are only 4. Senators Collins, Murkowski, Romney, and Sass. Only 4. Democratic Senator Chris Coons, obviously is a close ally of Joe Biden's, said this today about his GOP colleagues. Here he is.
I mean, they call me to say, congratulations, please convey my well wishes to the president-elect, but I can't say that publicly yet.
So, Congressman, have you heard similar sentiments where, sort of in the private conversations you're having with people, everybody knows what's happening here, but just publicly they're just not saying it?
Yes. And I know that's a very blunt answer, but yes, it's like, hey, thanks for being out there. Thanks for doing this. And we're even getting calls from Republicans into our office, saying, hey, thank the congressman. I can't really say much out here, but thank him for just doing the right thing. And again, when it comes down to Aaron Daggone it, I just don't understand why we can't just state a fact. And I know a lot of it has to do with elections, and we have this duopoly, this two-party system, where everybody's so worried about what somebody's going to say about them. You are elected to do the right thing. You're elected to serve. You're not elected to always try to pander, I think, just to get reelection and to make this a career field. And it's something I've been talking about since the beginning. And obviously, I know about not making this a career. But I think I just think we're to a point now that we just acknowledge facts. It's not that big of a deal to say we've transitioned to another president. I just don't understand it.
I don't either. And, you've got.
Do you hear what he just said? The problem with the duopoly. He lost, so he's like, I don't need this job. You see why? I mean, this guy makes so many great points. First of all these Republicans behind closed doors are like, yeah, Biden won. Let's get on with this thing. So is Trump crazy enough to try to do a coup? I'm not leaving. Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. And does he have some crazy followers? Not all Trump supporters are violent Second Amendment, but some of them are. Some of them are. There's no two ways about it. But as Caitlin Johnstone said, the media pushing the Trump coup is just to get you to click and talk about it. The reality is there's a lot of people like this in the military, in the Republican Party, in both parties who are like, man, the rule of law, they believe in America, right? Right or wrong, you can debate that, what America, blah, blah, blah. But they believe in it. And this is you lost. This is the chain of command. So if this is happening behind closed doors, every people like somebody's got to talk to Trump, and which might just back Trump into a corner, and he's like, I'm going to go nuts. But I don't think there's not going to be this. And then when it gets to the Supreme, even the Republican conservative Supreme Court, I think they're going to get enough pressure to go, look, man, here's the thing you got to remember. In some ways, Trump was good with keeping the deep state rolling. He kept the money, the bombing, he kept that all going. But the thing they don't like about Trump, the real people in power, is he got people to wake up and take to the streets. Now they took to the streets, and some of them are ill-informed, and they think, racism didn't begin until Trump took office. And the only time, federal cops snatch people off the streets were under Trump, because they're clueless liberals that don't realize Obama did that. at Occupy Wall Street. He did it at Standing Rock. He did it at Ferguson. He did it at Baltimore. Bush did that. Like, people don't understand that, but I think some of the people in charge are like, man, this hatred for Trump gets too many people, because they don't want us getting together and paying attention. They want us on TikTok and video games and Snapchat or whatever. That's what they want. That's what they want us doing. Getting all worked up over some dumb sporting event. Did you hear what they did? What the referee did? Or they took Tom Brady's jersey? Or, yeah, but did you watch reality TV where the Real Housewives of Dumbtown got into a fight over? They want to. That's what they want us to do. So again, when the media starts hyping something, ask the bigger question, which is what Caitlin Johnstone is doing. Let's listen a little more of this guy.
Trump with a new super PAC, and now we have this reporting that Donald Trump Jr. And Kimberly Guilfoyle, his girlfriend, are making moves to expand within the RNC, right? That they would maybe buy an IA takeover of it. I mean, do you really believe, Congressman, that so many of your colleagues are afraid that they think somehow when Trump leaves office, he's still going to be able to control their fates?
Yes. And I think that's ridiculous. And I would humbly submit this. If I were to ever run for office again, I can't imagine me sort of kowtowing to a certain group of people who want to take over a party. I am very difficult to bully. And I think people need to step up and say, we're not going to be bullied. We serve the Constitution. We don't serve the few. The Constitution is bigger than any individual. We've been doing this for a long time now. I think we've had a lot of presidents and a lot of transitions. Let's transition peacefully. Let's go forward as Americans, and let's stop this sort of brouhaha. By the way, there's no Sharpie Gate. There's no watermarks. There's no ballots being burned. We got to stop this conspiratorial thinking too, Aaron. It's just out of control.
Well, it's out of control, and it's not something that should be happening in this country. There's so many people from other countries where that sort of thing happens
that shouldn't be happening in this country. We should be able to allow to gerrymander and voter purge the way the Democrats do in the primary and the Republicans do in the general, and not ever be brought up and questioned. That should I mean, we should all just I'm glad Trump's gone. I'm going to tell you this. I'm glad Trump's gone. But he did point out some bullshit in our system. He does it in his crazy, racist, xenophobic way. And that doesn't mean he's some outsider that's rescuing children from pedophiles. He's part of Epstein. He's part of the ruling class. But this is like good and also part of the insane problem. They act like this doesn't happen in America. Really? We have this outdated system, touch screens. We've proven that back in 2006, those are hackable. So our elections are very easily rigged. I think this one, I'm sure the Democrats finagled somewhere. I'm sure they did. But I think this was overwhelming. They did a big get out the vote thing, and I think Biden won. I didn't vote for him. But back to the point. They're going to use Trump coup hysteria to get another 60-some days worth of Trump ratings. Because he's good for ratings. Joe Biden's presidency is going to be pretty boring. He's not going to tweet crazy stuff or say anything offensive. The liberals, the vote any blue will do crowd will go back to sleep and cheer that Biden and their yes queen Kamala are in office, and they won't care that kids are still getting deported at the border and there's drone strikes, and they won't care. So just milk the Trump coup thing, and Trump might do some crazy shit. But there's a whole system. People are like, can he do this? No, there's a whole system in place. That's why we have this. Oh, thanks for watching the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Cacoom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button. at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.